Week 7 in the NFL sees the Panthers, Bengals, Cowboys, Texans, Jets, and Titans all on byes. Week 13 is the only other week where there are 6 teams on bye in the NFL. That's what I'm here for. I've got 4 more must-start players this week for the NFL Week 7, and we're coming at you first with Geno Smith, quarterback 10 on Football Guys Weekly Ranks. I know last week he didn't have a great week, but we're going back to him against an Arizona Cardinals defense that is 5th in points allowed per game to QBs this season. You know, quarterbacks, you're always trying to find guys, especially with Joe Burrow on bye. I know Geno is only the quarterback 24 in points per game this season at 13 points per game. It's not great, but I'm feeling the Geno vibes back this week. He's currently first in success rate on first and second down, which leaves third and fourth down to be questions, but I do think against the Cardinals, you're going to see much better performance. The offensive line hopefully gets healthier this week. Their offense went 1 for 5 in the red zone. That's going to have to come back around against an in-division opponent, and they threw for 300 yards against the Bengals defense. I really do think this is a spot where he can come back and have a better performance, and this is part of the reason why. The offensive line issues are there. There's guys that are still running open, and also Geno's making some next level throws. This great pass here against the Bengals defense is just a nice little high-low concept to the bottom of the field. And what I like about it most is that Geno, again, he's going to look to his right. So you have a curl route here. You're also going to have a curl route here. So he's just looking to see where the defense is first, initially just left-hand side. On the right hand, like I said, you have that high-low concept. Tyler Lockett's going to take a little bit of a hesitation step and then release to the outside and win downfield. Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to run an out route here. Against man coverage, specifically when you have a blitzer off the right-hand side, they pick it up with a little bit of help from Kenneth Walker. You have that deep safety in the middle of the field that he's going to hold to the middle of the field and partly to the left-hand side where he's looking is going to open up. You trust Tyler Lockett to be that speed demon downfield that he continuously is, and it's a drop in the bucket for Geno Smith down the right sideline. I love what he's doing. You can look at the eyes at the end zone view here. You see him look to his left with that blitz coming off. They have both of those guys underneath. He takes the shot downfield for a big play. I know we left a couple of them on the field, specifically a touchdown to Jackson Smith and Jigba that he ended up taking off for about a 15-yard rush. But he was doing a good job of processing when he had time as well. This is a fun concept here from the Seattle Seahawks. On 3rd and 4, what they have is a little mesh concept where the inside receivers, so you have Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to run the over part of this underneath mesh concept. Tyler Lockett's running underneath. And then you have DK Metcalf, who's going to come in here and just sit down. Watch here as the defense ends up parting. Okay, they get both of these linebackers to move out of the way because this is, again, a mesh concept on 3rd down. They end up going right there, splitting open the middle of the defense, and DK Metcalf sits in the middle. And then they have a little bit of miscommunication of passing off. So this corner up here is going to try to pass him off to this corner here, or this slot corner here, but watch where he's like in the middle, okay? He ends up, there's the pass off signal, and then he gets in between those guys. So a nice job from DK of sitting in the middle of that zone. And Geno, again, going through his reads, he's going to look to his left, then look to the middle, see the defense part, and then throw it. Boom, on the money for a first down. So when the time was there, I do think that Geno made some excellent plays. And then you have plays like this where they're going to motion Tyler Lockett from left to right and then move Geno on out to the right in the red zone. It's never my favorite to see the teams motioning their quarterback outside of the pocket inside the red zone. I know they're trying to cut down on it, but specifically with 2 guys who their short area isn't what it used to be, and DK Metcalf's never had great short area, and they're trying to get Tyler Lockett here on a little whip route who's going to end up coming up, stop, and then turn around and come back and then move back to the left-hand side. It's not a great route concept in my opinion. Just let it be speed off the edge and just let him go and figure that out. Geno's got, pressure in his face, and then, you have the backside dig coming around. But this is a fantastic next level throw from Geno Smith, who honestly DK Metcalf should have caught this. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm seeing from Geno. Yes, red zone issues, struggles. Yes, there's going to be a penalty on the play from Kenneth Walker here, but this should have been a touchdown. It should have been a throw. that Geno Smith's been making week after week after week. So I'm back in on Geno Smith this week, starting against, and again, an Arizona Cardinals defense that's done nothing but allow points to quarterbacks, 5th in that range once again. So go back to Geno this week, especially if you've got other players that you're missing for those buys. He's going to come back in and have himself a good week against the Cardinals defense. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I know I'm going to need tight end help this week. And one of the guys that I think is going to be up to that task is Luke Musgrave. He's currently tight end 13 on Football Guys weekly ranks. He's tight end 22 on the season. That does include their bye week. He's got 33.9 fantasy points. He's tight end 21 in fantasy points per game at 6.8. But he has some other good things going for him, those deeper metrics. 11th in yards after the catch per reception, 5.2 yards. He's got an average depth of target of 7.3, and 2 out of the last 3 games that he played in, he's got 7 or more targets, and Denver is first in fantasy points given up to tight ends this season. Coming out of the bye, I expect the Green Bay Packers to get him involved, and why I think that this needs to happen more is when you have a limited capacity for yards after the catch players on your team, they're trying to get more of that involved, and they have 2 that are good, Aaron Jones and Christian Watson, but that's really it. And this is a nice design here. It's a little bit of a wide receiver screen. They're going to motion Christian Watson from left to right, try and get the defense to come out. Then there's the play action fake, the fake block, or not really a fake block, but the actual first intention block. It's more of a chip from Luke Musgrave, and then he's going to come back out and get that football. You got 2 blockers in front. You get 8 yards on the play. It comes back from a penalty, but that's the kind of stuff that I want to see from the Green Bay Packers. But the thing I've been more impressed with so far this season is that he's done a really nice job of learning the route tree. He was a very raw route runner. Again, he was the description of an athletic upside tight end to almost the T. He had a lot of drops. He had a lot of missteps in terms of getting that depth right on his routes. But this is a really nice job. We saw this with Geno Smith, this route combination of Tyler Lockett and Jackson Smith and Jigba. You have the clear out route from Patrick Taylor, the running back, and then you have this out route from Luke Musgrave. So you see he's going to get to the depth of the linebacker, and he's breaking on the depth of the linebacker. You want to get into the blind spot. Take a half step more here, and I think that he wouldn't have even been close to the linebacker. There's a little bit of mixed step here in the back end with Marcus Peters trying to figure out where to go. But this is the kind of out route I'm looking for the tight end. Get to that depth. Understand you want to get into the blind spot of the linebacker. Break out toward the sideline. Nice job. Catch for a first down. And this is really where I think that the Packers need to get back to. He's back lined up on the line of scrimmage here with his hand in the dirt. Use him as that vertical stretch option. You have one guy that can really do it in Christian Watson. Use both of them. And this is something that needs to happen more, in my opinion. Take some of those shots downfield. This is just a very simple miss from your quarterback. He seemed up the seam of the defense, right down the middle in this instance with the ball on the right hash. You get the defense moved a little bit more to the left there. And that's where you see him just wide open down the field with and linebacker coming down here down the pipe. Like, this is just cover 2. So you have cover 2, and then you have the underneath defenders here, then your 3 guys here, and then they typically have more of a Tampa cover 2 with that linebacker going down the pipe there to cover that tight end. So this is more of that Tampa cover 2 that we're used to seeing. And then he just runs right by him. Boom. Should be a big play there from Luke Musgrave, but it didn't end up happening. I think coming out of the bye against the Denver Broncos defense, this is going to be a good spot. Look back to last week with the Kansas City Chiefs moved the ball all over the place. I think the Packers can do a lot of that as well with Aaron Jones coming back to the mix. So start Luke Musgrave this week. I think he could have his best week yet as a fantasy tight end. Going over to one of, I guess, my favorite players from last year's draft, and Wan'Dale Robinson's currently wide receiver 38 on Football Guys weekly ranks. He's finally healthy. He looks good. He's kind of become the Giants' #1 receiver now. I know it's the New York Giants, but he's seen his target market share go up each of the last 3 weeks from 19% to 20% to 26%. He's got 20 targets and 18 catches in that same span. He has yet to get in the end zone. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, specifically because the Giants just need more time to be able to throw the ball down the field and get some of these guys into the end zone. But he's formed a quick connection with Tyrod Taylor and Daniel Jones from last year. Early in the season before Geno Jones got hurt, he was developing that as well. And Washington is 6th in fantasy points given up to wide receivers this season. And why I'm a big fan of Wan'Dale Robinson again is because in an offense that doesn't offer a lot of quick options, he's one of the guys that is going to do that for you. And this is just showing you that he really does look comfortable. He looks fast, he looks quick, and he's able to manipulate. So he's going to get the DB moving back all ready to start, and he's going to move him back just a little bit more. You have that understanding that he's trying to get in the middle spot of the field here. So regardless of the fact that this is zone, he's trying to get here. This is the intention. Even if this is man coverage, even if he understands that at the top of his route, that DB's coming with him, he wants to get into this area of the field because that's where there isn't anybody. So he puts his left foot in the dirt. He gets that DB moving to the left. Boom. He's open in the middle of the field. So this is one of the things where I think that the Giants will look back on the film, especially on these third down situations that we saw a lot of from the Giants, whether it's third and long, third and short. Wan'Dale Robinson was a guy to go after and continue to feed the ball to. That's why he had 8 targets and so many catches last week. So this is another great concept that Mike Kafka brought over from the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not just used in Kansas City, but with the play sheet that I have, the play calls that I have, you have what's called this Tampa formation. So the apex receiver is running this clear out route, but it's a corner route. The underneath is the closest to the offensive line is running just this out to the flat. And then Wan'Dale is not running the whip option. He's going to come down and break it off. So he's reading the leverage and then sitting down in the zone. So this underneath route here, you can see that where the receivers go in connection to where Wan'Dale is, that entire middle of the field separates, it opens up. So he's reading the coverage there. Good job of sitting down and getting after it, catching the football and getting upfield quickly for a first down, fighting through contact on the back end of this catch here to get into there. That's one thing that I like about it. He looks comfortable enough to initiate contact and has no issue with that. So now, last play here, he's in more of a condensed split, but he's also almost attached to that wide receiver on the outside in the stack formation. And this is where I like to see advanced player movement. Really nice whip route right there on 4th down that opens up the middle of the field for Tyrod Taylor. So just a nice little over route and whip route combination, middle of the field. And then you have the get in that hip sync and then break back out. So what it does is it makes both of these defenders end up having to overcorrect, okay? So watch the defender up top here. He's going to end up thinking that the ball will go to Wan'Dale Robinson. So he stops following the receiver over, and there's a big first down there from the New York Giants. Great route by Wan'Dale Robinson, great ability to stop, start, and get going. I think as we continue throughout the season, his yards after the catch will continue to go up. Those targets, especially on those third down chain movers, he's more of a PPR play for me this week. The end zone might be, the Giants might be allergic to the end zone at this point. I'm not entirely sure. They also lost another offensive lineman earlier in the week, but that just generates more quick touches for Wan'Dale Robinson. They're using him on jet sweep motions. They're getting him the ball quickly. He's the guy in this offense that can win quick. So at wide receiver 38, I'm absolutely playing him this week with all the bye week issues that I'm going to have. Is absolutely a must start for me. The last player we're talking about is my long shot of the week. Wide receiver 63 on Football Guys Weekly Ranks, Trey Palmer. Now, last week against the Detroit Lions, he had 7 targets and only 2 receptions. I'll show you guys why. He's got 2 touchdowns on the season. He is the slot receiver in Tampa Bay. Now, Chris Godwin typically is, but he's playing about 70% of his snaps on the outside. And that's key because the Atlanta Falcons have given up 14-plus points to slot receivers in 4 out of the last 5 games. And with an average depth of target of 4.8 on the season, I think he could be in for an absolutely huge day. And again, we're talking about a guy who, when we watch this game against the Lions, he was open consistently, often, and deep down the field. So here he is in this reduced split stack formation with the tight end, deep crossers coming on to the right-hand side of the field, and this is just a nice ball, nice placement from Baker Mayfield, who didn't have his best game. So here's Trey Palmer again. Watch the intention of the route. He's going to stem it out and then break off Mike Evans here. So that's where you see that cross. That's why they call it deep crosses, obviously. So right here, again, you're going to see where he's going to run his route, the intention he runs his route with. At the top of his break, he's going to lean a little bit into that player right there. At the top, he leans into him and then breaks off and cuts underneath. That's really nice adjustment. It's good intention, and that's consistently shown throughout his route running. He's a deep route runner. He runs a lot of deep routes, and that's one that he does that he's really kind of perfected as a deep route runner. So he brings a lot of speed to this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, and that's something they desperately needed. We know Mike Evans is a deep threat. He's getting older, though. He doesn't have that juice downfield, and this is what I'm talking about. Baker Mayfield, this is a walk-in touchdown. Trey Palmer could have had a 20-plus point week last week. He could have been blowing up on everyone's benches because he would have been absolutely on most people's benches. So watch here how he gets downfield. Right here. He makes this the safety have to come back this way with his right foot planted in the ground, and then he just takes off to that middle of the field. Open him to the left side. Fantastic job of planting his foot in the ground and still continuing to accelerate. Just got to hit that deep shot there, Baker. Now you're going to see him on the left side of the screen in the apex on this bunch formation. Another deeper route of this route combination, but he moves the corner off his spot with his initial stem of the route. So you're going to see here, he's going to just slowly move out to his left right there first, and then cut back underneath. So stem, outside, cut underneath, and get to the corner. So he moves the corner out of his way and then gets into space, and there he can pull away and accelerate. So Baker Mayfield just has to have a much better day for Trey Palmer to continue to show that his speed is really important to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. I think that this is another week, again, against the Atlanta Falcons defense that does not do well against slot receivers that we learned last week against Curtis Samuel. This is the week that he has another blow-up performance, and I think against a division opponent where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are really in contention, it's an important week, and I think Trey Palmer has a big one for you. So I'm starting him in a lot of places this week as much as I can, and at wide receiver 63, not a lot of people are expecting him to go off, so I really think he can. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, the breakdown, all the stats and everything like that. We'll be back next week for more, but make sure you're following the YouTube page for Football Guys. Follow me on Twitter at InHarmsWay19 for more film, for more breakdowns, and hopefully you guys enjoy some of that as well. Well, have a nice week. We'll see you guys next time.